What is going on, guys? Lord Valor here, aka Jonah. Welcome back to another LifeCast episode number 7 or 8. I don't know, I've lost track of time over quarantine. I think everybody has. And the laughing that you hear in the background is none other than Jasper, aka Toothless Flier in our Discord. How you doing, Jasper?
I'm doing great. I'm having the time of my life. Quarantine, I'm essential. It's fantastic.
Yeah, same here, man. Yeah, so what do you do for a job? Let's just discuss that. Exciting work stories
So
with
I
us.
repair tires. I fix tires so that truckers can get you your food. It's pretty good.
That is a fun time.
It is very fun.
So what I do, farming, cows, plants,
Yeah.
crops, essential service,
Yeah.
Only a little bit. Only a little bit. So yeah, that's what we've been up to. We actually have a bottle calf now. So
Oh, nice.
yeah. The mama had twins and she ended up not keeping one for some reason. And so we just have a bottle calf now.
Nice.
So that's fun.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You got a big calf.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's interesting. We'll put it that way. It's interesting.
Yeah, I bet.
Alright, so here at the top of the show, I just wanted to point out a Zoom scam that's going around. Just so we could get that out of the way. So if somebody sends you a Zoom invitation, make sure it has zoom.us/j/ and then whatever's after that. Because you will get Zoom invitations that have zoom.us/h or something, and that's not a true Zoom meeting. It's a scam, so don't click on those if you get them. I figured that should be said since that is since everybody's using Zoom so much.
Hey, well, guess what?
What?
I have not touched Zoom at all.
I have, so I've used Zoomed a lot, and then I got some scam emails. I'm like, So just be careful, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, you don't want to be getting scammed in the first place.
Well, you don't want to give out private information either and stuff like that. Alright, so we actually have a listener email from Kayla, who was on the show last time. And she wants to know how we are dealing with quarantine. We kind of discussed what we're doing at the top of the show. We're keeping busy with school and work and but some things that I've started picking up in quarantine are video games. Recently, right now in Minecraft, I am building a Western style themed town kind of thing. So that's been fun. I've been listening to podcasts. If you want some podcasts to listen to, I can definitely suggest some podcasts. YouTube obviously is a good board games or card games if you can gather enough people. Pick up a new hobby, kind of like Jasper does. I feel like Jasper is putting something new in a car every week, so he's picking up a new hobby every week.
I mean, I just put 35-inch tires on my stock truck, so life is going good.
Yeah, and that's the type of stuff that we talk about in our Discord. So hint, join our Discord. Streaming services like YouTube and Twitch are always fun. If you know who to watch and know what you're interested in. And I've also recently started picking up reading. Some books I read were A Midsummer Night's Scream by R.L. Stine. It's a horror, which I don't know. I enjoy horror books, but I don't enjoy horror movies. I don't know. It's kind of me. Going outside, playing a sport, and just taking a walk. Simple stuff like that, actually, if you do them for long enough, actually fill up your day quite nicely. So what are you doing? What advice do you have for people in quarantine?
Get an essential job. That is very important. It'll keep you busy.
Uh,
It'll give you something to do every day.
Sometimes easier said
But
than
yeah,
done
also
though.
having a hobby is good. What?
That's easier said than done though.
Getting a job?
Just finding an essential job could be hard depending on where you live.
Well, it could be, but it could also be not that hard too.
Yep.
It's all on where you live, I guess.
Yep. So we're gonna get in some news now. The news that I have is old, because one of the things in my news we're actually gonna be discussing today, the release of Rick and Morty season 4 episode 6 will start on May 3. We're gonna be discussing that today, and Trolls World Tour, was released, and you had to like pay money to watch it online. That's what they did instead of theaters. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Um, yeah, so those are the two news points that I have. But let's get into the main discussion. And today's main discussion is on Deadpool 1 and 2. So, Jasper, you've seen these, right?
Yeah, I have.
Give me your thoughts on 1 first, then 2, and then I'll give mine.
Well, one was a good intro, I will say, of Deadpool. It started off good, gave a good background to it, and it really allowed people to know and understand who Deadpool is and why he does what he does. Then Deadpool 2, I guess I would have to say, is more of a first mission, I guess? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I think about that.
Yeah, so Deadpool 1 was more like an origin story, and I actually found it a lot funnier than the second movie. Do you agree with that?
No, I have to brush up on both of those movies, but to be honest, I kind of like one more. I liked the origin stories better.
Really, this origin story it just didn't appeal to me, and it was just kind of for me. So I really liked 2 better, but I found myself laughing more during 1.
I mean, the younger kid really helps with audiences.
Yeah, the younger kid in 2 was definitely a bonus point for it. But my favorite quote from Deadpool 1 was, "A fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break. That's like 16 walls." It's a really iconic quote now, I think, but it's funny. That's
I
funny.
will admit that was very funny.
So Deadpool 2, I just have 2 more quick thoughts on it, then we can move on, because we have more pressing matters to discuss.
Oh, of course.
Cable, the actor who was Cable was also the voice of Thanos, which, if you think about it, is kind of weird because he's in Marvel twice now, which is kind of weird. And in Deadpool 2, oh, I'm talking about Deadpool 2 here. Lady Luck was my favorite character besides Deadpool, obviously. But I did love.
Of course.
She did a great job in that role. All right.
She did very good.
Yes.
I will admit.
Yep. I'm trying to think of that actress's name.
I don't know actresses and people's names. All I really know is Jim Carrey. Okay. We gotta give it up for Jim Carrey though, because he's amazing.
Jim Carrey. Yeah, indeed. All right, so let's discuss what we've been anxious to discuss for a while now.
Do you think our audience is ready to handle this?
Yes, our audience is ready. If they're not, they can just skip half this episode.
Okay.
So Rick and Morty season 6 or episode 6 season 4 was released May 3. We both had the chance to watch it, so this is only 4 or 5 days old as of this.
It's really not that old. So
we're
still pretty good yet.
Spoiler warning.
Who cares?
If you care, spoiler warning. So what were your initial thoughts?
It was just up and down all around. Where was it gonna go? Who knows?
You texted me. You were like, "Ah, I'm so
I know. I
confused."
didn't know what was going on.
And that's how I felt through the entire episode. And it wasn't till 2 minutes till the end that I was like, "Oh, I get it."
I know.
But oh man, I don't know how I feel about it. I still don't know how I feel about it. I would have to watch it a second time to see, but I still don't know how I feel.
It was put together pretty smooth though. I mean,
Like, yeah, sure,
the
but
ending all tied it together though. So
yeah. Yep. It was just I don't know how I was confused the entire like 18 minutes that it was running, you know?
yep,
And I don't know, that was just kind of set me off. I mean, it was a good episode. Definitely
it
not their
was
worst.
definitely a good episode.
So I don't know. I was watching a video on it afterwards, and I'm gonna link a video in the description if anybody's interested to watch it. Because there's some interesting information he had in there. But uh, what to you was the funniest part? What made you laugh out loud the most?
Well, I'm not really a laugh out loud kind of guy, but I think the funniest part was Morty. Okay, Morty and his costume.
The Morty was the female?
Yep.
Yeah. Jeez, Morty, why didn't you tell me it was you? That
I
whole
thought that was
scene.
just hilarious.
So the premise of the episode, let's just kind of go through it scene by scene from what we remember. They're on this train, which is actually a circle.
And nothing can be easy because if it's easy, it's wrong.
Yeah, that is a very good quote from Rick. He's like, "Come on, why are you putting timer?" Morty's like, "Why are you putting timers on it?" He's like, "Because if it's too easy, we don't get good audience attention." It's like you just broke the fourth wall.
I mean, but that's for everything though, ain't it?
Not every episode has that, no, but you're right. He's definitely been known to do it, to be self-aware like that. One of the there's two things that caught me off guard is when Rick and Morty were captured and they were tied down, and I forget the villain's name, but he was really jacked.
He was like a time guy. I mean,
Yeah,
the conductor was also pretty jacked
the
too.
yeah, the conductor was pretty jacked too. But he had Rick and Morty trapped, and he was like, "I'm gonna bring you beyond the fifth wall." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And like the fifth wall is when
They started creating ideas out of thin air, or
right.
they started making new ideas. I guess I'm not really sure what was going on there.
The division the definition according to Google is the division between a fictional world depicted and the actual actor's prop. So it's like a call to the fact that it's a call to the actor saying that he's voice acting for the character. It's
Okay.
it's kind of weird. It's kind of like breaking the fourth wall. But that took me off guard. I was like, "Wait, what? They did this again? They broke the fourth wall again?"
Yeah.
The episode was full of it. And then when he went into I don't know, it was I don't know how to describe some of what happened. But they entered this alternate reality basically. Rick and Morty did,
Yeah.
and Rick's like, Morty's like, "We're completely surrounded. We're gonna die." And then Rick's like, "No, we're not." And then gets down on his knees and starts praying. I was like, "Oh my word, you're going there. You're making a Christian joke." And I almost died. And then at the end, when they were done saying their prayer, it like Bob the Tomato the Bible guy, and like all these people
Yeah.
just stepped up, and it's like, oh, that was funny. Um, so and in that scene, they were actually surrounded by Meeseeks, evil Morty, which has been theorized by people to make a return. So I guess that's their response to that. Um, and Evil Morty was controlling all the Ricks, which was really interesting. And I'm
I
forgetting what
hope
else
we actually
they
get.
were surrounded by in that case.
I hope we actually get a better episode than just that. Though.
I agree. In the future, I hope the episodes make more sense and they're a little more. I don't know what they're actually doing.
A little more structured and all that jazz. I mean,
It was
I'm
it
not. It was a good episode, but it wasn't perfect. I don't know.
it felt all over the place to me. And I get
It
that
was.
some people are gonna like some people are deep thinkers and they're gonna come up with these big theories about what this means. And it's like, no, I take a story for a story most of the time. I don't read into it, you know?
Well, welcome to English teachers.
Yeah, really. What does the author mean when he says it's like really? Um
The
but
night is dark. What does the author mean?
he Beth has a dog. What does the author mean? Ah, the dog is a metaphor for pain. I don't know. Okay, so another thing that I liked, it came last minute of the episode. It was Morty. He's like, Rick, I bought you something. That whole scene was my favorite because it was that bam, I got it moment. And there was actually a coronavirus reference in there, and I was like, wait, what? They
There
put that in
was.
there? Yeah, he's like, nobody's buying anything during this pandemic.
It is true though.
It is true.
At
Nobody's.
work, there's less people coming in. I mean,
Yep.
there's not very many people getting tires changed. I mean, that's expected. Nobody's going anywhere.
Nobody's
But yet
driving.
there are
Yep.
FedEx workers that are getting laid off as well, and I'm just like, really? This is happening?
Yeah, it's crazy.
You
So,
would have thought that there would be more buying.
uh-huh. So that was what Rick said. It was like he was like nobody's buying anything during this pandemic. And then he looks at Morty and he's like, "You looked into the I like it, Morty. I love it. You looked into the face of capitalism and said, "Yes, daddy, please." I was like, "Oh
I know.
boy." It's
It
like
was
that's
it
where
was
you
great.
went?
Hey, you know they had to have one of those in there somewhere.
Yeah, they had to have some inappropriate reference, obviously.
I mean,
That's kind of the appeal too. Like I get if you do not like this show. I understand if you don't like it, but
it's what it is. I mean, because you can't really watch a Rick and Morty show without there being something a little over the top, a little bit dirty,
yep, something
a
a
little bit
little
crude.
that is a good way to describe it. You can't watch an episode without something being just over the top stupid or over the
I
top
know.
inappropriate. Like there's always one. Sure, like the story's there, but there's always one thing that's just yep, that was
Over the
too
top.
much and they did that on purpose.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Um what are your hopes for the future episodes of Rick and Morty?
Well, I don't know, okay? Because I really just want them to continue going. But if they don't, I mean, it's up to them.
Right.
So
Do you think there's going to be a season 5?
I hope. I really, really hope. But at the same time, I understand if there isn't.
Right. You don't some things that can go on for forever and it'll be fine, you know?
Yep.
But sometimes you just got to know when to stop, you know?
Yes.
Um
And I hope that it doesn't stop, but
I
it
think they
seems
could
like
get
it
away
might.
with keep going. Honestly, I think they could. I
They
think they could
probably
go
could.
for as long as they wanted.
Oh, I don't know about that. But I think they got a long run ahead of them yet.
Yep, I do too. I hope that's the case anyway. What I have a theory that they waited so long between episode 4 and episode 5 and episode 6 because I think they were kind of testing the waters to see how people would react, to see if like can we go in other seasons, are people going to like this, do people hate the break and are going to bug us for more. So I just kind of think they were kind of just testing the waters, but I don't know, maybe they just wanted to, you know, space it out. Who knows what
Capitalism.
they were, who knows why. um
Capitalism.
Capitalism. Obviously, the conversation
I'm gonna
comes
say
full
some
circle.
capitalism.
The conversation
Yes,
comes
Daddy.
full circle. All right. So this is actually a good segue from Rick and Morty to Phineas and Ferb, which is actually kind of a similar theme of people can build whatever the heck they want and what happens when they do, kind of thing. I know this is kind of catching you off guard because I didn't mention we were going to talk about this, but
No, no, that's fine.
it's been on my mind. I'm on season 4, episode like 23, so I'm deep invested into this show.
Yes, you are.
It is it's that's kind of how I've been filling my time while I did dishes. Because we don't have a dishwasher, but we do now. Anyway, so that's So what have you seen Phineas and Ferb?
I have, yes.
How many?
I
Like a lot, a little.
I don't know if I'd say I watch a lot, but I do watch quite a bit.
Yeah.
And
So
I do kind of know the characters, and I empathize with Phineas because I think that I'm kind of the same way. I'm like, hey, I know what we're gonna do today,
yeah,
and then it usually ends up happening. It may take longer than a day, but it usually happens.
yeah. So my overall thoughts, having watched it in order from season to season, season 1 was just them laying out what they were gonna do. You got the gag of Phineas and Ferb
There's
build something.
104 days of summer vacation, and school comes
There's
along
now
to
204
spend it.
deans of quarantine, Jasper. Um,
There's what?
um,
Say that again?
there's now 204 days of quarantine.
Woo!
So season 1 was just kind of them getting their getting the plot. Phineas and Ferb build something. Candace sees
Candace
it,
rats him
tries to
out.
bust him. It disappears. So like that's all. And then season 2, they started to make fourth wall break jokes. They started to make jokes about the plot line, and it was very subtle. They started making very subtle jokes about their own show. And then season 3 hits, and then they escalated that more. And there was just fourth wall break after fourth wall break, and it just made the show so much better because they were
Okay,
able
then
to make.
I obviously haven't seen. I think I've only seen the first season. Then
Well, I'm not saying every episode was like that, but if you watched like a couple in a row, you're like, oh yeah, there was this fourth wall break, this fourth wall break, and it was just they just one right after the other on season 3, and now season 4 is just they're just the same way. It's just escalated into it's just hilarious. They've been going for so long that they were able to be self aware about what was going on, and it was funny. So that's my
nice.
quick little spiel about Phineas and Ferb. Uh, but I've really enjoyed that. I think I have like 20 episodes to go on season 4. Um, but
You'll
one of
get
the
to them.
gags that I think is getting old, I'm going to say this now, is the fact that Isabella likes Phineas, but Phineas doesn't like catch up on the social cues. Like that joke's
Yep.
old to me. That joke's old. So when in Phineas and Ferb the Star Wars special, um, when I was watching that, Phineas is like, "Huh, a girl like her with a guy like me," and Isabel in that show was not interested because they were in an alternate universe. If you've watched it, if you've seen it, you understand what I'm talking about. But I laughed because I was like, "Wow, Phineas is actually going for Isabella in this one." That's they changed it up and it was good. But that's the one thing about this that is getting old.
Well, they're trying to keep some of the old same gags, right? So
Yeah,
you gotta give them props for that. But at the same time, they need
but
to change the script.
they do this. They some of the gags they do this. They do the same gags, but they do it in a different way to make it funny. Like with the Phineas and Ferb and Isabella romance, it's just like Phineas just doesn't catch up on the social cues, and that's the joke. Like it didn't feel diverse. It's just that's what it is. I don't know. It made me
Yeah,
laugh the first couple times, but kind of got old.
I mean, yeah, I definitely agree with you there.
Um, but one of the episodes that actually is my favorite is the one where they go into the future and you see who's dating who. So like Ferb is dating what's her name? Doofenshmirtz's daughter. Um, this is terrible. This is terrible.
I'm not gonna give you any hints because I don't know any hints.
It starts with a C. I could almost swear. Anyway, not the point. But Doofenshmirtz's daughter is dating Phineas or Ferb.
Yeah.
But I don't think you ever get any hints to that in the series, but I could be wrong.
I think there might be a few times.
Well, there's a few times they're together, yes, but I don't think they actually start dating anywhere in the seasons, like officially. And I don't think we're gonna get that with Phineas and Isabella either. But there was also a thing that Phineas was dating Isabella in the future. Back to to that episode that I liked is that it showed who was married to who and stuff like that. So thank you guys. Thank you for joining me, Jasper. Thank you for listening to this episode of LifeCast. You can.
Hey, it was fun to be here.
Yes, it was a good time. You can find us by searching Saucy Meme Lords on YouTube until we get a custom name for the URL. There you'll be able to subscribe to us individually. Links to the social media are in the description of the video. We post from time to time. You can email the show saucy.memelords@gmail.com with your input on what we should talk about and thoughts on what we talked about today. Or if you just want to say hi, we're here too. Join our Discord then if you want to say hi, because we have that too linked in the description. Playlist of past LifeCasts will be on our channel as well. Jasper, thank you for joining me.
You are so welcome, and, well, I'll see you later.
Yep, see ya. This has been an episode of LifeCast. When life gives you lemons, break the fourth wall.